Good afternoon. This is John Eagle Freedom, better known as a health guardian. The topic we're going to be covering today are goals. What are goals? Goals, I believe, are thoughts, and everything in our life, from the cars we buy to the women that we date to the houses that we buy, everything begins as a thought. And if you understand the concept, let's revert back to Yale University in 1953. They encouraged the graduating class to make written affirmations, and 3% of the class defined and had written affirmations on what they wanted to do with their life, in career, in business, in relationships, even how many children they wanted. Two of the things that they could measure was finances and career. 20 years later, they evaluated that class. They discovered that the 3% that had written affirmations for a roadmap to their life or a roadmap to success accomplished more than the other 97%. Yes, you heard me right. 3% accomplished more than the other 97% of that graduating class. Most people don't make goals. Matter of fact, 75% of people don't even make New Year's resolutions. And out of the 25% that does, 90% of them fail with their New Year's resolutions. I think the biggest reason is they make them, but they don't write them down. I would encourage each and every one of you to take the 40 hours out of your life and make a list of goals that you want. Wherever you're at, whether you're 10 or 100, it makes no difference. Set the goals, have them written, have them definable, have a time period on them. Like, instead of saying, I want a lot of money, well, you should say, well, I want $5,000 a month, or I want to make $100,000 this year. And go at it with a definite definition and description. I don't want to say I want to lose weight. I want you to say I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds. And then you can measure it and put a time period. I want to do it in 30 days or 60 days. The biggest problem that most people have is they don't understand goals. Goals are crucial to your success. And I would encourage everyone possibly to get some books on goals. There's a lot of great ones out there. And I would say that once you put the thought in your mind and you actually believe it, then you can achieve it. But you have to believe it. Make realistic goals. I would say that part of our problem in America today, we spend too much time in front of the TV and not enough time working on implementing things that would improve ourself, our mind, our body. And you know, I read an article the other day that there's less than 5% of Americans get proper exercise. 5%. Now, if you look at 5% getting the proper exercise, what are the other 95% doing? When they say, when you ask them, are you exercising? I don't have time. You know what? If it's important to us, we will make the time. Health should be the priority thing, because without health, we have no wealth. And yet we spend the seconds of our life destroying our future. I was at a treadmill this morning, and I was walking, and I noticed that they had this gauge, and they were seconds ticking by. 1, 30. Well, I was on a treadmill for 30 minutes. So you have 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and 24 hours in a day. If we look at 7 days in a week, 4 weeks in a month, and 365 days, you got 12 months in a year, but then you got 365 days in that year. Don't squander it. Don't go to the grave with your music left in you. Decide on what you want. And if you're so busy with busyness not to map out a roadmap of success in your own life, you're only stealing from yourself. And if you're stealing from yourself, you're stealing from a fool. And I'm not calling you a fool, but if you don't make the proper choices, you might as well admit to yourself that you are foolish, because don't expect anything to show up unless you ask it to show up. I've seen the movie Secrets and a lot of the New Age thought process. God created the birds and the bees. The birds built the nest, and God didn't come along and drop the worms in the nest. The birds had to take action. That's the same as us. We have to take action. The homing pigeon has an instinct to return home, while we've been gifted with a homing instinct within our own minds and our own bodies. You need to realize that if you don't make the decision and take action on your decision, then nothing changes. You can sit on a couch the rest of your life and enjoy the beer, enjoy watching TV, but you're living your life through the actors that play in these movies. This life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the real deal. So become proactive and start setting goals. I want to cover a topic about women, one of my most precious topics. I love women. I love the wives I've had in my life. I had a beautiful soulmate, childhood sweetheart that I enjoyed, and I ended up losing her. Knowing what I know now, I never would have lost her. I have a beautiful woman in my life right now, and it's not the women in our life. It is what we think about the women in our life. I can just say this, that without women, our civilization wouldn't be here. And most men treat women less than what they are. And I would encourage you ladies, the ones that are listening, that if a man abuses you, physically or emotionally, you should set a goal. And you should kick that, you know what, to the curb. Because no one should ever take abuse, especially a woman. A man, well, there would never be a war if one person was always willing to surrender. And when you understand who you are and truly love yourself and realize that you're in me and I'm in you, and I don't want to hurt myself, so why would I want to hurt you? And if you look at our society, pornography is the #1 thing on the internet. Now, if we all would say, well, let's see where that takes us. Pornography destroys the beauty of a woman. And I would encourage anyone and everyone to realize where that lust factor comes from. I believe it comes from the characteristics of the food that we consume. The blood of an animal cannot be digested, and I believe it carries the fear, the adrenaline, the cholesterol, and the lust. And if you go back to the biblical in Genesis, where it says, God says, I grant you the right to eat all moving, living things. Wow, I love that paragraph, because now I had justification to eat everything. But the next 2 paragraphs I missed over, because it said, do not consume the blood of with the flesh therein. It said, do not consume the flesh with the blood therein. That's powerful. And if you look at some of the other wisdoms in the Bible, it talked about clothes. Do not wear mixed fabric. Science has proven today that when you wear mixed fabrics, that it lowers your energy. It destroys the power of your aura. And if you go back to Genesis 1:29, the first page in the Bible, it says, I've given you all the herb-bearing seeds, and I've given you the fruit with the seed therein. This shall be food. That's the oldest diet known to man. And people don't realize that it's not the food in our life, but the life in our food. So if you're setting goals, you should set a goal similar maybe to the way I set mine. I set mine to have the healthiest year and treat my body as a temple instead of a trash can. The next thing about wealth, I choose this year to be the wealthiest year of my life. And without health, we have no wealth. The third thing is I desire to acquire the wisdom to know the difference. And wisdom is a wonderful place to be. Solomon was the wisest man in the world, and he was also the richest. And when at the end of his life, he said something like this. He said, the best love of his life was his first love. Men realize that the first love of your life could be the last love of your life if you would treat her like a queen. And I would encourage all men to realize how blessed we are when we have a woman that loves us. She puts everything on the line. She doesn't need to be left holding the bag, raising the children, and being left alone to feel less of a person because we have not learned who we are. I'm going to tell you, men, women are what you make them, and women make a man. A lot of men say that they're self-made men or self-made millionaires. Behind every great man, I believe there's a great woman. And if there's not a great woman behind the man could be looking for, what is it said? Eagle goes, or fall goes before the eagle goes before the fall. It's not what we think of ourselves as much as the gift of kindness and generosity and love that we give to the women that are in our life. This has been a great opportunity to talk about goals. I did touch on a couple other of my passions, and I believe that the children of the world are the ones that are suffering the most from people that put their own selfishness ahead of the righteousness. If you're going to make a commitment to a woman, then make the commitment. And I would advise all girls and all women, never let a man touch them or kiss them unless the man is willing to make a commitment. Because when a man touches a woman, it releases a chemical in a woman's mind. And believe me, the woman goes crazy. And with all that being said, I want to go back to goals. Let's set a goal to stop the insanity. It's being visited onto the children of the world that are being imprisoned, not behind bars, but in their own minds and bodies, because of the malnutrition, dehydration, adrenaline exhaustion, and the greed perpetuated by companies wanting to extend their shelf life and killing the life force that's in the food. I want to thank you again for joining me, and I appreciate the comments, and if you'd like to leave any comments, it would be highly appreciated. So until we meet again, I want to say thank you very much, and set some goals. Set some realistic goals, and let's see, and let's make this year the best year of your life. Thank you.